Hey guys, hope you're all doing great and hope you're all having a lot of fun in your summer holidays. So, here is just a very quick question before we start. How many of you believe in ghosts? Now, if you do believe in ghosts, please stay tuned because I've got great news for you. And if you don't believe in ghosts, well, stay tuned because I'll make you believe in them. So, it turns out that every single one of us is a little bit haunted. About 2%. I mean, not the spooky haunted house haunted, but we're haunted by actual ancient human beings who lived hundreds of thousands of years ago. So I came across this article some days ago, and I was absolutely stunned to find this out. So I decided to make this video to share it with you guys, and yeah, so I had my mom explaining a couple of science stuff to me I did not understand, so here it goes. In July 2026, scientists at UC Berkeley published a study in Science, one of the most famous science journals on Earth. Now, this study actually showed us that all of us carry DNA from mystery relatives we have literally never dug up. No bones, no fossils, just their genetic fingerprints, still running around inside you right now. So let's begin. Now, before you accuse me of making this up, I'm actually not making this up, okay? So here, on the first picture, you can see the actual article posted on the Science Journal. And yes, it is real. It was published on the 30th of July 2026, just a couple of days ago. From real scientists, having studied real data, and finally, there's some proof that ghosts exist. Now, what is a ghost lineage? Basically, it's a population of ancient humans we have actually never found. It's not that we dug them up and we have their bones, or we have their teeth, or maybe they're even fossilized and we actually have some part of their skin. Now, we can tell exactly when they existed because they left pieces of their actual DNA behind them, inside of us. Basically, think of it like a detective story. You know someone was in the kitchen because you found crumbs, you found muddy footprints, even though you never saw them. So, let's start. Let's rewind a little bit, okay? So, for a long time, we thought the human story was very simple. Homo sapiens shows up, and everybody else disappears. But it turns out it's way messier. And way more interesting, obviously. So, about 50,000 years ago, our ancestors walked out of Africa and spread across the entire world. Now, along the way, they obviously met other kinds of humans. These other kinds of humans were the Neanderthals, stocky, big-brained, living across Europe, and the Denisovans, known mostly for a pinky bone and few teeth, living in Siberian caves. And obviously our ancestors didn't just wave hello. They had children with these other human species. Now, if your family isn't fully sub-Saharan African, you're walking around with a percent or two of Neanderthal DNA right now. And many people carry Denisovan. Oh my god, it's so hard to pronounce. Anyway, and many people carry Denisovan DNA. Especially people living in Oceania or Asia. Now, let's continue. But how do you study a ghost with no bones? This is exactly where the whole thing gets really interesting. So, you may think that to read an ancient human's DNA, you usually need their actual remains, bones, teeth, and DNA is incredibly fragile. It only survives in cold, dry places, like Siberian caves, or your freezer. But obviously there were no freezers back then, so only in Siberian caves and in blocks of ice. Okay, let's continue. So basically, now think about where us humans spent most of our early days. Warm and humid Africa. That is so terrible for preserving DNA. So basically, huge chunks over history are basically a black hole. We have no idea what happened. And actually almost no DNA. Now, scientists strongly suspected that there were extra ghost relatives out there, but obviously suspecting is not the same as proving. So they basically had to find a way to actually prove that there was more to our story than what we knew up to then. Until somebody came with a very, very clever new trick. Listen to this. A method called trace. It didn't need ancient bones. It reads the DNA of people who are actually alive today. Now, basically, they took the genomes from 503 living people from all around the world, built each DNA chunk's family tree, basically how old it is and who it's related to. And these trees, these family trees, showed some very, very shocking results. They were just pieces of them that were way too old to be ordinary. Those oddball chunks were the fingerprints of ghosts. It's like doing archaeology, but instead of digging in the dirt, you're digging through living DNA. No shovel required. Now, before trusting it, obviously they had to test it, because whenever someone invents a brand new scientific method, your very first question is, okay, very cool, but does it actually work? Now, and that's obviously a great instinct. And the scientists asked the exact same thing. So before hunting down unknown ghosts, they tested trace on ghosts we already know about, the Neanderthals and the Denisovans. Now think of it like this. You bury a handful of coins in your backyard, and then you take your new metal detector and see if you can find them. If you can't find them, well, it's trash, isn't it? So basically Trace passed their test, and it correctly rediscovered the Neanderthal DNA and found Denisovan DNA in exactly the populations that it should have. So that meant that Trace could actually be trusted. Now, there was a very, very good reason to believe it, because since it had found the Neanderthal DNA and the Denisovan DNA, that meant that it worked perfectly, right? Now, let's continue. This ghost, it's in everyone, literally everyone. Trace found a completely unknown population of ancient humans. The scientists just call it the ghost. This diagram shows where it fits into the family tree. Basically, that dashed orange box, well, yeah, that is the mystery of our relative. It split off from our lineage around 800,000 years ago, roughly when the Neanderthals and Denisovans branched off too. And then, way back in Africa, before our ancestors even left the continent, it mixed with us. So each of us carries about half a percent to 1%, of the DNA from this ghost. Now that's about the same slice as the Neanderthal DNA we carry. And here's the kicker. It's in everyone tested. Africans, Europeans, Asians, literally every person. Now that tells us the mixing happened early in Africa, before humans spread across the planet. A relative none of us has ever seen, quietly living inside all of us. Now, there is a second discovery. Trace spotted an even older ancestor, or else called the super archaic. It split off around 1.8 million years ago. For scale, that's around the time of the Homo erectus, one of the very first humans to actually walk like us and use fire. Now, here's the twist. This super archaic group didn't mix with our ancestors directly. It mixed with the Denisovans, who actually mixed with us later on. So basically, we inherited it secondhand. It's like the friend of your friend. The super archaic are the friends of the Denisovans, who are our friends. So that's basically how it mixed with us. We didn't mix with that super archaic race, but we mixed with the Denisovans, who were carrying that DNA. So, yeah, your family tree has more plot twists than a superhero movie, guys. You didn't expect that when you started watching this video, did you? Now, how much of you is ghost? Look, let's talk numbers because this is exactly where headlines get wrong. Add up all the ancient, archaic DNA in you, Neanderthals, Denisovans, ghosts, super archaic, and it comes about 2% of your genome. Now, some of you may have seen a headline screaming 20%, but here's the truth. In few very specific spots on certain chromosomes, the ghost signal spikes up to 20%. But that is a local hotspot, it's not your whole genome. Basically, genome-wide, the ghost is about 1%. And here is the coolest part. Ghost DNA turned up in places scientists had labeled DNA deserts, regions that they thought were purely modern human, no ancient DNA allowed. That's really cool, isn't it? Some of those spots read right next to FOXP2, which is a gene tied to speech and language. So a ghost may have left fingerprints right next to the genes that help you talk. I'm mind blown. So your family tree is really a web. Step back and look at the whole picture, because this is the part that actually changes how we see ourselves. For a very long time, the textbooks drew human evolution as a tidy tree, one branch splitting into the next. But humans didn't evolve in a straight line. Different groups met, mixed, and moved over and over for hundreds of thousands of years to become what we are today. And why should you care? And why is it actually important beyond obviously it being a great story to tell at dinner? There are 3 reasons. Number 1, this is basically a brand new kind of time machine. For the very first time, we can discover our ancestors without needing any fossil or human DNA at all. It's just by reading the DNA of people alive today. Number 2, remember how Africa is a DNA black hole because the warm climate destroys the old DNA? Well, yeah, this method doesn't need the old DNA. We don't need to be looking in Africa to be researching for the skeletons, for the teeth, even for frozen remains, because this method can actually still show us exactly what happened in the past just by reading our current DNA. And number 3, this trick isn't just for humans, it can actually work for plants and for animals, so we can learn a totally new side of the existence of animals and plants that we had no idea it existed. That right there is what makes science genuinely addictive, guys. So let's land this. You walked in here maybe thinking your DNA was just you and your parents and your grandparents, but you're actually carrying 2% of an ancient time capsule. Bits of Neanderthals, bits of the Denisovans, and now these 2 brand new ghosts. So you're 2% ancient and 100% fascinating. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. And please go share this with everyone you know, because it's really fascinating. Thank you very much. See you very soon with new videos coming up. I love you guys. Bye bye. See you very soon.